Good morning, everybody. I'm a little late getting on the water this morning. I had a show last night and had a great one. It was a good time. So thank you to Lavonia, Georgia for hosting me last night, and everybody who come out to the show. It was a really good time. What a great show means to me is day of show logistics being organized, meaning load in time, sound checks, all of that stuff. Good merch sales, a good responsive crowd, and we had all of that yesterday. Me and my dad fished a spot last week. Back there in 2017, I recorded my first Nashville produced album, and that was also the year I lost my granddaddy. I was living in a one-bedroom studio style house back in 2015. A buddy of mine had just bought a huge plumbing building, actually. It had some extra space in it, and he was like, would you be interested in putting your music stuff in one side of this? He's like, I'll rent you this side cheap, you know? So I was like, heck yeah. This building actually had toilets and showers. Like, this was the old display room. Had toilets and showers and all kind of stuff, sinks. Went in and renovated this whole display room into a studio. We had a drum room, a guitar room, vocal booth, everything. Like, it was legit. So I felt like I really had a studio then.
Traveler on a train, headed southbound.
And so through doing that, I was recording my own projects.
Backwoods raised and brought up tough, up to no good, and down on our love, down on our love.
Had a few other projects. I had always dreamed of going to Nashville, doing the whole Nashville thing. So 2017 or 2018, I packed up and went to Nashville. It was a really cool experience. I met a lot of great people there. I wanted to experience life outside of small town, and I think that most young people do.
It's a few days before I moved to Nashville. Funds are a little tight, so I'm rolling some change.
I got out and experienced life outside of a small town and found that I love a small town. And during that time, my granddaddy had been diagnosed with cancer in 2016, 2017. It was going on 2018, so my granddaddy's health wasn't the best. But Dan and I had put this date on the books to record this EP. I knew some of the artists that Dan had worked with throughout the years, and everybody in the family knew how big of a deal this was to me. I would be back and forth every weekend, you know, playing shows.
Alton, Illinois. Wooten, Georgia, let me hear y'all tonight.
Redheads in the elevator, here we go.
Berg, how y'all doing tonight? Let me hear you one time.
During the week, I was in Nashville doing the whole songwriter networking thing. Just trying to break the door down any way I could. I'll never forget this. I'd come home for the weekend, and I think it was Monday. I waited till Monday to go back to Nashville. And I think it was that Tuesday we were scheduled to record the EP. I always go through Atlanta to get back to Nashville from my hometown. But I got in the car that Monday to head back, and I had this supernatural tug from above to go through Greenville up Interstate 40. I got to the hospital, and my grandmother, she was crying, and she was like, have you heard the news or whatever? And I was like, no. She was like, your granddaddy just has a few more days. And I was like, oh my gosh. And of course, everybody was super emotional. I had some really big decisions to make right then. It was either cancel the session or go on to Nashville and do what I needed to do and hopefully have some rough recordings for my granddaddy to hear, you know, before he passed away. Of course, my family didn't want me to cancel my session with Dan. So I think I drove teary-eyed all the way from Greenville, South Carolina to Nashville, Tennessee that day. And the very next morning, I recorded the Southbound EP. And I told Dan, I said, my granddaddy's health's fading back home. I said, if there's any way you can you please mix down some rough cuts? My granddaddy was one of my biggest fans, you know. Got back to Greenville, South Carolina the very next day. Dan had mixed down me some rough takes, and my granddaddy got to hear the songs.
Spend it all on change, just ain't going nowhere fast.
And the very next day, he passed away. If you own a Southbound EP, you open it up, you'll see in the cover that the whole EP was dedicated to my granddaddy, Ricky Haggerty. Each music project I do is special in some way, but that one there definitely has a lot of sentimental value to it. If you hadn't heard the Southbound EP, be sure to check that out.
Traveler on a train, headed southbound.
I hadn't caught any fish this morning, y'all.
Summertime, chasing down the nighttime. It's the right time for you and I Igloo beer,
Crappie on the little pop star Nanny sinking jerkbait.
things will make you feel alright. Ain't got a dime to our name. Spend it all on change of scene, going nowhere fast. I'll love
Another crappie on the realistic gold and silver this morning. I love the crappie fish, especially when you're on the bank. One great thing about this sinking jerkbait, y'all, it's great for these bridge pillars and stuff because this thing can sink to the depth that the fish are at. You can fish this however deep you'd like. I think that's what sets these baits apart from everybody else. These guys sink. Fishing to scan a tree, an old tree. We're not in too deep of water though, so I'm not really crazy about that. Not this time of year at least. Spring, this would probably be great. Trying to get a strike, y'all. A little point right there in this coat. This big fish. Oh, missed him. No, I got him too, guys.
Everybody's worried about what they got and sealing the deer. You don't need nothing, ought to have something real.
Oh, wow.
Ain't got a dime to our name.
A brim this afternoon.
All on
I'd like to be
change
pleasantly
of
surprised though.
scene, going nowhere.
I just got hit. I just don't think that I got a fish. I'm pleasantly surprised, y'all. Look, another brim. I've got a couple more spots to fish, and then I'm going to find some lunch somewhere. I looked at the rope, but I guess it's like throwing a baseball. I looked at it, and I hit it. I don't know that I'm getting this one out. These rods and reels are way bigger than I normally like to fish for crappie, but we're just making do with what we got this morning. How about that? I didn't even know I had a fish.
These rods and reels are way bigger than I normally like to fish for crappie.
It was almost like he was sitting on the bottom. Here some of y'all are wondering if I keep fish, and the answer is yes. I love to eat fish. I really hadn't had time to cook fish. You saw it right here, the little pop star in realistic green this morning on these crappies on the bridge pillars. Y'all know the drill, we don't fish it if it ain't real. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.
Yo, we should all do a picture.
Here we go. See ya.
Cheese.
Oh, come on now, that's enough of this.